willing to know what they want to work with.
And a lot of people don't know. They don't know what they want to work with.
Give me 2 minutes.
And a lot of people don't.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't understand what it takes to build and grow a healthy relationship.
So we're coming back.
Because it's not gonna come.
We're coming back. Hey caller, can you put it on mute for me, please?
Sure.
So yeah, thank you for coming back with us, tuning in. It's time for a change show with Linda Lowe.
Hey.
And we have Chris.
Howdy.
Wait. DJ Chop, right?
Chop the Butcher.
Chop the Butcher. I got it right.
Yeah.
And we have Rolling Grimes, of course, over here on the mic.
Your chocolate date. Twice on Monday nights. Sherry has the other Monday nights.
That's right.
Just remind your caller to turn the background sound down and also to speak into the phone.
You hear that, caller? Turn the background noise down and make sure you speak into the phone, not the speaker, okay?
All right.
Okay. Hi, and how are you? What's your name?
My name is Lynette. How are y'all doing?
I'm
We're
Lynette.
fine. We're fine.
So what's your comment today?
Well, I'm sitting here listening and everything, and I want to know the guy's intake on long-distance relationships. And also want to know y'all's opinion on microwave relationships or microwave situationships.
We was just talking about that.
Yeah, right. I'll date as far as like Charlotte, North Carolina. This is about as much distance as I want. That was a joke. Y'all didn't get y'all just went right over here. Never mind.
I've actually had a long distance relationship in
Where were they at?
Rhode Island.
What?
It's only a 6-hour drive. But
Okay.
I always said that a long distance relationship would never work. But at the time when I met her, I think I wasn't mentally or I wasn't ready because I've been by myself for so long, so used to doing for myself. And it could have worked because she actually moved down here, ended up moving back, but she was a good person. But long distance relationships, after a while it gets old and somebody's gonna have to move. Eventually.
Right.
Somebody's gonna have to move eventually. And that comes down to if that person one of the people is willing to uproot what they know to go somewhere, and vice versa. And I think it's up to the two people, but eventually dating for years, long distance, it doesn't
It ain't
work.
work. Yeah.
No.
And I agree with
It's
you.
not gonna work.
And I think that goes back to, for me, it goes back to setting those goals
Yeah.
of moving. Okay, now if I'm going to enter into a long distance relationship, that's one of the first questions on my mind. Would I move to you or would you move to me?
Right.
Now, she, like I said, she moved down here and she had kids. And like I said, I wasn't mentally ready because I was still hitting the club, still doing this, still going out with my boys, this, that, and the third. And I never knew how to just sit home and just enjoy that one person that want to be around you. I didn't know
So
how
you
to
missed
do that.
out on that one.
I missed out.
Okay.
I missed out. But no, go ahead.
Well, could I also ask a question too? What if you have somebody that just works so much, but you know what their grind is, and you know what their end result is, but they don't. It's almost like you have to make an appointment or find a window. How do you handle a situation like that?
Well, first you have to. It's like she said. It's about goals also, but it's still about goals and what do you want. But if you know that the person is on the grind, and you know that the person is on the hustle, right? If they're working constantly trying to build something, trying to build an empire, you sign up for it. You sign up for it. Just like a woman that dates an NBA player or NFL player. You can't go into the relationship and be like, oh, well, you're not home. Well, that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. If somebody is building an empire and you go into a relationship with them, if you're not willing to build that empire with them, if you're not willing to be on that hustle and grind with them, see, I'm a ride or die chick, right? So if I deal with a dude and I know that he's trying to do something with himself, and I know he might be on that grind every day, or he gotta do this, or he's gotta he's constantly doing work or whatever, I'm gonna be on that grind
Right.
with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And whatever I can do to help you get there, I'm gonna help you get there, because we're gonna do this together. But you don't find you don't find too many of them nowadays.
That's
So
what I'm talking about. It seems like it's a limited edition of those type of brothers that are out there and sisters. And I don't think people understand that. That's the thing. That's when I was listening to your talk. You got to have that common interest, because you got to know what that person's grind is. If not, it's gonna be like you said, why you always working? Why you always? But at the end result, we don't benefit together because I'm helping you. But I'm gonna let y'all go, 'cause I know there's other callers. And I heard that comment, Mr. Grimes. Charlotte is in the building. How y'all doing? Good night.
All right, so call. She hung up. She's like, forget you. Yep.
And I think it's important that when you are on your grind, you need to know if you want to enter into a relationship or not.
yeah, because you might not be
Right.
ready.
Right. Because you don't have depending on your priorities.
Yeah.
But then again, would you rather have your man working all the time or just out
Because a man's
Well,
going
you know.
a man's going to do something, and,
Yeah.
and God put us on this earth as the man on the earth, and it's really from sun up to sundown, because the ground has to be tilled in the morning, and the ground has to be turned over at night in order for the garden to continue to grow. So our responsibility is to work. The first thing man gave us before he gave us Eve was a job. God gave us work. He said, name all of these, and then you have dominion over the earth. So we're made to work. And she was made to be our helpmate according to the Bible that I read. On that basis, what happens is, and the caller said, well, if you grind together, then you have an outcome and then everybody's happy. Where the problem comes in is, can you be happy during the grind?
You gotta be happy doing the grind. You have to.
Can you enjoy
Yeah.
whatever that is while that grind is going on, and understand once you reach your goal, a second grind then kicks in.
That's right.
But
Because
she
in
might
order
just
to-
want that one night to go out or
But if
just
that,
to feel,
so if that
out
is
there
And, and I want that one
And
night.
I think it's important, right?
However,
Yeah, that's
there have
important.
been situations, and I don't mean to cut you off, sure. There have been situations where I had that one night, and then y'all needed something, right? And then I had to tell
I
her,
don't know who
oh,
y'all is.
my client
Client
needed,
said.
my
Okay.
client needed something.
Okay.
And like, when your client comes before me,
it just depends on that situation, yeah.
Don't answer that question.
right?
But you
Right.
know, you have to play the situation each for itself. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And in building the empire, you have to understand that there is a cutoff time as well.
Right. A healthy
You know,
balance.
you have to have a healthy
It
balance.
depends on your grind.
You have to have a healthy balance,
It
and if you
depends on
don't
your
have
grind.
that healthy balance,
Well,
that's
you
when
can't
you.
grind 24/7.
Well,
And
well,
I
the
wrote
man,
down-
Well, they grind
the,
24/7.
now, the
You
two
need
ladies are
assistance
saying
and
you need a
help.
healthy balance. The brother's saying you don't. Well, y'all had that
I
conversation.
think you
Find out what that
I think
means.
you need to have that
is
help.
very important.
Because if
Everybody
you-
needs help, but
But if you're entering into a relationship, you have to make time for that relationship.
Well, that's what I wrote down. The two things older men that have been married for years have always told me. And number one thing they told me is that you make time for what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You make time for what you want. So if you want to make time for a woman in your life, you will. Because my grandfather used to say, you can't keep a man from somewhere that he doesn't want to be. So if he wants to be with you, he's going to be with you. Even if he's on that grind, he's going to make sure that he makes time for you
And-
because he wants to be there. You can't make a man want to be with you.
And I have an
You can't make
ulterior,
anybody want to be
Right.
and I have an
So-
ulterior, I have an ulterior view. What you're saying makes sense. What I would tell Granddaddy was, no, what I really want is, I'm going to be on what I'm on. She needs to come be with me. I don't need to stop what I'm doing to go see her. She needs to figure out how to get in here with me.
Well, see,
Because
that's not going to work.
Oh, okay.
why is that not
That's-
gonna work?
But
Why
I
is that not
wanna-
gonna work?
I want to hear when you
If
say
he's gonna
she needs to
come-
come in here with you. What do you exactly mean? Like come and help you?
Or
With
hang
your
out in the
grind?
studio.
Excuse me. So, in other words, a man's not going to stop doing what he's doing when it needs to be done. And what's going to happen is that creates situations where it's hard for him to work his way back over to her. Now, what men are saying in those positions are, hey, she needs to come join me. So what Jada Smith, well, you know, maybe they both had similar careers, but what happens is she has to become a part of his world, not so much him stop his world so that he can go spend time with her. Because what ends up happening is, and it's not, I mean, let's call a spade. Barack Obama, right? He could never stop being president,
24/7.
right? But look at Michelle versus Ivana, or Ivanka, whatever her name is. Melania, right? You see the difference between the two.
Oh, yeah.
Melania is like, yo, I want my life, and I want you here with me. Okay, you live in New York, I'm gonna live in D.C. We'll meet in Florida every once in a while. Michelle was like, you're the president. That's never gonna turn off. Now, whether you are the administrator of a nation or whether you are the administrator of your business, there is no damn difference.
Exactly.
We have a perception that you're president of the United States, so that's a bigger job than being president of your ice cream truck stand. No, it's not.
Right.
You know, this is, brother owns this restaurant, it never turns off. So she better come figure out a way to become a part of his world in that restaurant and bring the kids, like the Koreans do next door in the
Right,
beauty
but
shop.
at what point, like the gentleman called it earlier though, and he said that a lot of women are losing themselves because they, you know what I mean, they get into the relationship and they lose themselves. Men, and nowadays, most men don't want the woman to lose themselves. So if we are both on the grind, and then my second statement that the older man told me was that you always want to get a man that has a hobby, because if you don't get a man that doesn't have a hobby or something to do, he makes you his hobby. Okay, so to a man that is trying to build an empire, that is his hobby, right? So anything, whatever I can do to support you in that, I'm gonna do. But best believe you have to understand that I have one too. You see what I'm saying? And so that's where, you know, everybody's kind of bumping heads because everybody's doing them, right? But there has to be a healthy balance. And if you don't have a healthy balance, I think with, you know, where we are, like we've talked about, out of order, like we talked about having standards and morals, like we talked about not being